Welcome back to the Barley Lads. Tonight we are drinking. Oh, so you can see it. Blanton's. So let's dive into this. Blanton's is considered to be the original single barrel bourbon, and they put that prominently at the top with the horsey up there. You see that? You can also see that this is letter N. Hopefully you can see that in the camera. So they release these bottles quite frequently out of the distillery, and periodically the letters change, and people will, I'm going to toss that, collect the letters, and then you'll get a little stave with holes drilled into it, and then you can put the little corks and spell out Blanton's with it. Bryce and I will not be doing that. It's way too much money, and the juice in here is good enough. But so let's talk a little bit more about the Blanton. So like I said, original single barrel bourbon whiskey. So this was originally released in 1984 by the then master distiller Elmer T. Lee. That is another allocated bourbon coming out of Buffalo Trace at this time. But he got the idea from his former master distiller, and his name was Colonel Blanton, Albert. Sorry, I'm going to read it. Yes, Albert B. Blanton. The B is for bacon, which I find hilarious. I don't know why. But yeah, so back in the 40s and 50s, when he would have dignitaries or other people of prominence visit the distillery, the Colonel Blanton would go to Warehouse H and pull what he considered the honey barrels out of like the center of the warehouse, and that was where he was finding the best barrels, the best representation of, at the time, the Stag Distillery. So circle back to 1984. Elmer T. Lee is getting ready to retire, but they are telling him to put something out new that is representative of the company and is also kind of like your last hurrah as the master distiller. So what he decides to do is continue this honey barrel picking that he learned from the previous master distiller 30 years ago. And so he started putting out these single barrels and has continued to today. So this is 93 proof, so not a high proof for bourbon. This is mash bill number 2 though, so it's a little bit different than Buffalo Trace and Eagle Rare and a few other ones. So this is supposed to be over 10% rye. We really don't know, but mash bill 2 has a higher percentage of rye than mash bill 1. So it should have a little bit more rye kick to it, a little bit more spice to it. This is coming out of Buffalo Trace, which is in Frankfort, Kentucky, the state capital of Kentucky. Yeah, I think that is all the information I want to provide, or I have for it. So let's dive into this. Nice. All right. Fairly light on the nose. Again, 93 proof. Does have a little bit of spice to it, like a nutmeg, vanilla, and caramel. It's backwards. There you go, guys. No, horse's ass. Taste-wise, strong caramel. Medium finish. I'm going to say the nutmeg comes through again on the finish. The taste has a citrus kick, almost like orange, but like a little bitter, like orange peel. Oaky. Solid. It's a very good whiskey. Bryce and I disagree a little bit about this, but what I'll say is that MSRP, so what you can buy this in state control states like Ohio, I think it's about $65. At the distillery itself, I think it's $65. Let me straighten that out. Really inappropriate view. 65, yeah, it's good. It's a very good bourbon. It's a good single barrel. I've never had a bad Blanton's. I've tried 3 or 4. They're not bad by any means. Secondary though, these are not worth 100. These are not worth 200 or 300 that we've seen in other places, even in Kentucky, obviously outside of this distillery. You're finding these for way too much money. It is very good, but again, you get what you pay for. So solid pour, good for 65, great if it was 50, phenomenal even if it was 50, but buyer beware in terms of what you're paying for it. So cheers.